The empty nest confusion is real. Everything feels upside down, and there's a reason for it. But here's what I want you to know. This sort of chaos, this confusion, does have a way to untangle from the mess. Once you see the shape of it, everything starts to feel a whole lot less overwhelming. I'm Clara, and today we're untangling this together. Here's what I've learned about life transitions, including this one. Even when everything feels chaotic and upside down, there's order underneath it. There always is. Every life transition, no matter what kind, has a natural progression. A time for things to settle. A time for integration, where the circumstances on the outside are coming to terms on what's on the inside. They start to mix, they start to make sense. The chaos isn't a sign something has gone wrong. It's a sign the transition is actually happening. You're in it, and it means you need to kind of move through it. And that's what this video is about, showing you the order underneath the chaos. Because once you can see it, you can breathe. The empty nest transition moves through 3 stages: a beginning, a middle, and what I call the endish. And within each of those stages, there are specific feelings and experiences that most women have, but nobody warned us about. The first thing we're going to do today is to figure out what your coordinates are. Where are you right now on this empty nest map? Because once you know that, the chaos and the confusion starts to make sense. So the first stage is the beginning, and it's marked by big feelings: anxiety, overwhelm, anticipation, grief, you know it all. And it feels unsettling, just confusing. And one of the hardest things about the beginning is that it asks you to let go of what your reality was before. Before the kids left, before the house got quiet, before the role that organized your life changed. There's a disorientation that sets in. The routines that held your days together suddenly don't fit anymore. And the emotions can catch you completely off guard. You're just going about your day, and then something stops you. A wave of a feeling out of nowhere. For months, maybe longer, we were focused on celebrating them: the graduation, the achievements, the proud mama moments. And even if something was rising up underneath, we pushed it down because it wasn't the time. But now the house is quieter, the schedule is less full, and everything we held back is coming up now, all at once. The beginning of this empty nest transition. And it's not a sign, though, that something's wrong. That's what happens when you finally have the space to feel what's been waiting. That's the integration of the beginning. So if you're in the beginning right now, stop trying to skip it. Stop waiting to feel normal again. Let the waves of emotion come. It's not a sign something's wrong with you. It's the beginning of the untangling. But what comes next is the stage that most women get stuck in. And people around you may not get it unless they're going through it themselves. The second stage is the middle. And it's where the acute feelings of the beginning, thank God, have softened a little bit. This is where the integration deepens. The outside circumstances are starting to become familiar, but the inside hasn't quite caught up yet. And that gap between the two is what makes the middle feel a little disorienting. There's an unfamiliar quiet in the day, an open space where the busyness of mothering used to live, a stillness you don't quite know what to do with. And what makes it harder is the voice that comes with it. Why don't I know what I like to do? Why don't I have hobbies I'm dying to get back to? Why doesn't this feel like freedom? I thought I was going to enjoy this open time. And she thinks she should know, and the fact that she doesn't, that feels like it's its own kind of failure. You hear me? So she does one of two things. She sits in the paralysis, staring at the open space and feeling stuck, or maybe you are running from it. You're feeling every hour, you're feeling every day, and you don't allow yourself to sit with the question. Both ways of coping are understandable. Both ways are the middle. And even maybe family time looks different now, and nobody prepared us for that either. There's a feeling that something needs to shift, but you can't quite name what. And then there's the other layer of negotiating with your child. It's a new relationship. How often should I text if they've left for school? When should I call? How much is too much? You want to stay connected, but you also want to honor what they're becoming. The negotiation of connection and space, that's the middle. That's the integration in process. And the fact that you can't explain it doesn't mean it isn't real. And the fact that your life looks full doesn't mean you aren't allowed to grieve the part that has changed. Think of it like a roadmap. You've entered unfamiliar territory. You don't have a signal. You're not lost. You just are between destinations. It's what's also called liminal space. You're not where you've been, but you're also not yet where you want to be. But somewhere in the middle, which might last weeks or months or longer, depending on how you're processing this life transition, something shifts. Quietly, you stop asking, who am I without them? And you start asking, what do I want now? That's the turning point. That's your invitation to think about next steps. Speaking of next steps, I have a book that I wish was around during all my life transitions. It's called Your Life Transition Toolkit, How to Weather What Comes and Embrace What's Next, and it's coming out September 15th. The link to join the waitlist is in the description below. Go grab your spot and then stay with me, because the third stage is not what most women expect. The third stage is what I call the endish. It's not a finish line. It's usually something more subtle than that and more hopeful. And I say endish deliberately because this transition doesn't have a clean finish line. Most transitions don't. There's no morning where you wake up and think, I'm done. What it feels like instead is a sense of settling. The emotions are still there, but they're not as intense. The integration is completing. The outside and the inside are finally finding each other. There's kind of a sense of relative calm, a sense of surrendering, relative surrendering to what has evolved, a settling in, a finding new rhythm. And there's something else too, a reckoning. A moment where you consciously acknowledge what this chapter is and you choose to let it go. Not because you have to, but because you're ready. And to be honest, I know I'm not quite there yet, but I had have thought of some ways that I might recognize this for myself. I might go to a lake nearby and maybe quietly throw a pebble in the water as a sign that I'm letting this stage of my life go. Or I might write a letter to my son that I might or might not show him, but I'll know when the time is right. I'll know how to acknowledge the end of this life stage. And the endish is not necessarily about becoming a different person. It's about allowing yourself to be open to what's next without holding on to what was. So if you're sensing the endish, name what this chapter of your life this was. Write it down, acknowledge it, release it, watch it go. Because the road doesn't end here, it opens up. Remember where we started? The confusion, the chaos, the feeling that everything is upside down and you don't know which way is up. Now you have the starting of a map, a place to start the untangling. Underneath the chaos and the confusion, there was always order, even if you didn't realize it. There was a beginning, a middle, and an endish, each one with its own purpose, each one with its own stage of integration. So which stage resonates most with you? And if you want to go deeper, my book, Your Life Transition Toolkit, launches September 15th. The waitlist link is in the description. I'd love for you to be there on day one. Now, once you have the map, most women find themselves face to face with a deeper question. Remember, I said endish, not just where I am, but who am I? Who am I now that this chapter of being a mom is changing? The identity question is exactly what we're tackling in the next video. It's right here on your screen. I'll see you there.